Hello, everyone. We are back. This is Behind the Mic. I'm Gary Laubach with the recently officially named Hall of Fame member, Mike Joseph. Glad to have you with us. I want to thank Will Newsidle for his help, too, in preparing for today's show. Mike, before we get to talking about the ball game itself, talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you. It's official now, and the bio's up there on the website, so everybody's going to know you're heading in.
I tell you what, I've gotten so many texts just in the last 24 hours since people have seen it. It's amazing. It's overwhelming. I am so happy. I told you before how much this means to me and my family, and I'm going to get choked up again. But thanks to everybody out there that wrote letters and spoke on my behalf, and especially yourself and my Lafayette family, is just it's incredible. I waited a long time, and then, like I said, I put it out of my mind. It finally came, 37 years later, and I'm so excited.
Well, it's certainly well deserved. Read that bio. I think there are 6 going into the Hall of Fame. Make sure you check it out on GoLeopards.com and the Lafayette Sports Network. Mike, you've got an interesting perspective going into this ball game. This is FCS against FBS. I went back and looked at your schedule. I know you played Army almost every year. I know you coached against some teams that today would be FBS. What's the mental approach as a coach and a player going into a game like this when without question, you're an underdog?
Yeah, you're an underdog, but you have an opportunity, and I think it's what all coaches will tell you, the opportunity's there. And this is why you come to Lafayette now. Mm-hmm. So you get a chance to play Bowling Green, you get a chance to play Richmond now in the league, and later on in the season, Oregon State. So these are the opportunities kids sign up for when the kid's getting recruited. He looks at the schedule, who are we going to play, what FBS opportunities, and I think that's all it is an opportunity. But the depth is what bothers me, okay? So Lafayette doesn't have the same depth as an FBS team. Mm-hmm. You don't have as many scholarships as they do. But at the same time, you can compete as long as you have the opportunity and the attitude of we're going to go in and play our football. You really don't have to worry about Bowling Green. Do what you do. Get off to a good start. Don't make errors on special teams. We're going to talk about on Inside the Huddle, special teams, how important they are. Can't give up a kickoff return. Can't fumble snaps. Can't have a punt block. Those type of things are things that turn a game around and create that 2-score, 3-score separation that make these games look at the end like they weren't really games. Now, Lafayette a couple years ago, Duke, 7-7, end of the first quarter. Lafayette can play, but can they play for 60 minutes? And I think Coach Troxel will have them ready.
The other thing we should talk about, too, before we get to this specific ball game is the league changed very quickly this past summer. Richmond is now in the league. In fact, they'll take on Lehigh in game 1 or is this game 0? This is game – I don't know. Richmond now in the league. William & Mary and Villanova in the league next year. What a league.
It's incredible. And I think Coach Trox alluded to it earlier this summer, is that the opportunity now is just not for one team to get in the playoffs. You can get 2, possibly 3. So this team is really shaped. What I like most about it is you have to play less out-of-conference games. We used to play 6 out-of-conference and then 5 league games. It was crazy. So you had to travel a lot more, and you had to play some bigger teams. Now, the opportunity to have maybe 3 or 4 of a 12-game schedule and have 8 games against incredible, and it also raises the bar for your recruiting. Mm-hmm. It raises the bar and says, listen, we need to get here to compete with these type of teams. Now, obviously, Villanova, William & Mary, we had to take a couple of the really good teams out of the CAA, along with Richmond, who's the CAA champion. So, again, it's all about opportunity, and I think the kids relish it, and the Patriot League, the arrow's up.
All right, let's talk about Bowling Green Lafayette. 6 o'clock this Thursday night. Make sure you see that. ESPN Plus will be bringing you the ball game. And very interesting situation with Bowling Green. They got a brand new coach, very famous, Eddie George. In fact, what a coaching tree they have at Bowling Green. Urban Meyer, Dave Clawson, just to name a couple of them. And Eddie George replacing Scott Loeffler, who is now the Eagles' offensive coordinator. Heisman Trophy winner 30 years ago, College Football Hall of Fame, Houston Oilers, Tennessee Titans, head coach at Tennessee State. His culture is interesting. He calls it guts. He says, I want gumption, understanding, tenacity, and sacrifice. He brings a big name to this program.
He's a huge name. I mean, you're talking about a Heisman Trophy winner. You're talking about a guy The thing I respect about him, he's a gentleman. He's a terrific man, and I think he brings that culture. Same thing Trox brought here. 40 years ago, he played at Metzger Fields for Forked Union when he was in a military school before he went to Ohio State. So I watched him as a 6'3", 230-pound tailback against our freshmen play. He's just an incredible man. He's bringing the right culture, and I think he's exactly what Bowling Green needs.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And I know there'll be a huge crowd there. Their stadium holds 24,000, Dwight Perry Stadium. They'll probably all come out to see Eddie George in game number 1. The other aspect of this football game is I've been in this business too long, actually. The other aspect of this is how you know so little. Each coach knows so little about his own team, and he has to know so little about the team he's playing against.
Yeah, it's especially when you redo your roster, like so many teams are doing right now, turning over an entire roster sometimes with the portal. So you have to get to know your own team, and I think he's saying the same thing to his kids. Let's be Bowling Green, okay? Let's be the Falcons. Let's show them what we can do. It doesn't matter who we're playing. Let's play good special teams. Let's execute on offense. Good communication with his. The other thing is on his staff. Does he have guys who's going to be in the booth? Who's not? Who's handling timeouts? All of those things come into it when you're a head coach, and there's a lot of factors in it. But again, play the type of football that you've instilled. Don't worry so much about the opponent. Obviously, it's about some of that, but at the same time, play your type of football and what you want to establish at that school. Same thing Trox did.
Yeah, there's no better indication of what the portal has done to college football than these two teams. 48 new players on the roster for Bowling Green, and for Lafayette, 36 new players. So coaches are dealing not only with the unknown with their opponent, they're dealing with the unknown with their own team. And again, you don't have an opportunity to scrimmage outside your team, so you have almost no idea how you're going to do it against any opponent.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think Coach Troxel's been trying to find out who they are. And again, it starts up front. We always talk about the offensive line. The year that Lafayette won it all and was so dominant, it started up front. And I think that's what it's going to start with Sean Kinney. It's going to start with those guys there. Can they put enough pressure, defensive line guys? Because in the back, in the secondary, and in the linebacker level, a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces. Guys have had played, but hasn't had the full game experience. So Lafayette's going to have to come to play, and they're going to have to do it from day one.
Yeah, you talk about the inexperience of the defense. Just one starter back. The offense looks pretty solid. Obviously, they've got Dean DeNoble, a quarterback for his third year as a starting quarterback. Great receiving core. The offensive line looks like they'll be outstanding. The real strength of the football team. They have to stay healthy, though. There's not a lot of depth there at the offensive line. But defensively, I don't think we've ever talked about newbies being at linebacker. I mean, and the secondary is very inexperienced. I guess the strength will be the defensive line. Usually, the defense sets up the linebackers. This year, maybe be just the opposite.
It might be the opposite. You're going to have 7 or 8 guys rotating in on that defensive line. A lot of guys that played, Vaughn, those type of kids. Jalen Joseph, big year for him. Right. Big year. He's got to bounce back, and I think it's in his mind to do that. So, again, does it set up that way? The linebacker level, you lose Preston Forney, you lose some other guys that maybe held that thing together. But this is a defense that's going to have to rely on getting to the quarterback, getting penetration, tackles for losses, creating turnovers. Lafayette last year, they created the most fumbles. They had, I think, 13 forced fumbles. They got 12 of those. That's huge. Plus, they add in 11 or 12 interceptions. So they found a way to turn the ball over, give it back to Dean DeNoble in the offense. But this defense, again, is going to start up front with those front 7 rotating guys, and then we'll see who steps up.
Okay, let's look at Bowling Green. Let's take a look at the Falcons as they come in with a team. Interestingly enough, they're brown and orange, and they created the brown and orange of the Cleveland Browns, not vice versa. Paul Brown went to a practice with Bowling Green. He wanted to be a couple hours away from Cleveland when they started, and he liked their colors, and that's why Cleveland Browns are brown and orange, because of Bowling Green. All right, this football team. They've got a quarterback, Drew Pine. He is now starting for his 4th team as a college quarterback. He's played at Missouri, Arizona State, and Notre Dame, and now at Bowling Green, and he has 2 more years of eligibility. Trust me, I can't figure all this out.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
He's good. He's good. He's a 4-star coming out of high school, and I remember watching him, and his uncle played here at Lafayette, was an offensive lineman, played in the Hula Bowl, coached him, played with Coach Trox, so there's some familiarity there. This is Dave's brother, Jim, and he's a good quarterback. Again, does he settle in? How does he find his first coach? Does he have another new offense? It's hard, when you hear in any NFL, quarterbacks having 4 and 5 offensive coordinators, they always struggle. So how does Drew pick that up? I think they'll make it simplistic for him, and he's a really good one. Got to stop him, not only through the air, he can use his legs.
And they've got a great special teams player in John Henderson. He's an outstanding punter. In fact, he's up for the Ray Guy Award this year. They also have an All-American at linebacker, Gideon Lampron, and we're going to have to figure out a way to find him and keep him from making tackles.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. Going to have to get to the second level. I think we're athletic enough to do that with the guys we have up front. Bosch is finally healthy up front. The two all the guys up front have played, but it's a matter of the depth. Can we get to the second level, get a body on a body, and then I put a little bit of onus on our wide receivers to block. So can Carson Persing get in there to block? Can Hosek, the tight end, who was terrific last year, get to the second level, make some blocks? So everybody's going to have to finish. Elijah Stewart's going to be fantastic at doing that. A healthy Mason Keener. These guys are not only going to have to catch the football when it's thrown, but we're going to have to get blocking in the second level to maybe spring some of these guys. And Kente Edwards has got explosive speed.
Well, that's our look at today at this ball game, and again, a lot of unknowns. Everybody will be anxious to see both football teams. ESPN Plus at 6:00. Make sure you go inside the huddle with Mike Joseph. All of that is on GoLeopards.com. Mike and I will be back next week when we take on Stonehill. That's always an interesting ball game. Two very evenly matched football teams, so that should be a good one. We don't get into the booth itself until September 19th with the Columbia Lions. So make sure you tune in every week as we go behind the mic.